that we turn to regular session. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
We need a certification of closed meeting, Resolution 21-148.
I move we approve Resolution 21-148 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-148. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Next, we have approval of the agenda with no added items.
I move we approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Also, if we have anyone that would like to speak at this time, we know in the past we have always had to sign up when someone comes in, but since the screenings are no longer in process, Miss Alice Whitby is here, so if you'd like to speak, if you have not signed up, make sure you sign up, and she has a list and can get you added. Next, we have approval of consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes from the May 17th meeting, budgetary matters, and warrants, and Resolution 21-159 personnel matters resulting from closed session.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
There is no public hearing. There are no items with appointment currently. Next, we have citizens' comments. Again, if you have not signed up and would like to speak, please make sure you let Ms. Whitby know. Mr. Slayton?
As the board does every meeting, I'm going to review the protocol, please. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. Excuse me. I keep time. I'll let you know when 2 minutes is up and when your time is out. You're asked to address the board only once. No person's 3-minute allotment can be transferred to another speaker. The board asks that you address your comments to the board, not to others in the audience. The board asks, of course, that folks behave and conduct themselves with decorum, as we're sure you will, and ask that when you speak, before you begin your comments, that you please state your name and address for the record, and we will be going in the order presented on the sign-up sheet.
Raymond Bryant?
Good evening.
Raymond Bryant, 9520 Low Ground Road. I came tonight in response to a statement that was made after public comment by one of the board members. That member said that they went to their predecessor, which is me, and said that even though you are no longer on the board, we need to work together to achieve common goal for the county. She said my response was, you wanted it, you got it, now deal with it. This statement was omitted from the minutes that were just approved tonight. The minutes of this board meeting are the official record of what was said and done. The only comment I have had with anyone on the present board was a call that I made about 60 days ago to Vice Chairman Arthur that I made expressing my displeasure with the firing of the county administrator. There were 2 other times that we have spoken. One was the night that I was given a certificate for my service to the county. I wished her good luck. And the other was at a board meeting that I was called on to verify some road problems at a certain location on the Low Ground Road. These problems still exist a year later. At no time have I been approached and asked to work together. That response was not made by me to her. My wife has been extremely ill the last 1.5 years to 2 years. She finally received a transplant and is doing good now. There has not been any kind of contact from this board as to how we were doing or anything else. This gives me a feeling that the board, what this board thinks of me after 4 years of work I put in for this county. Thanks for your time. I will be back.
Thank you. Mike Ray?
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Ray. I live at 583 Scotland Drive, Jarrett, Virginia. And I was looking through the published agenda for tonight, and I'm glad to see that there's an internal policy that's going to come up tonight where this board has looked for some outside guidance, and they want to define goals, define a mission, and even go as far as defining the board members' behavior, and it uses words like fair, transparent, integrity. Some of this same language is in the oath that everyone sitting on this board already had taken as an elected official. But maybe now, since this board is going through this measure, and I think it's a good thing to do, that myself and other citizens could be granted more than 3 minutes to speak on topics that are important to us and other residents of this county. With that being said, I'm also very glad to see that Mr. Wood is now in his new position here at Greensville County. And I'm certain that Mr. Wood will become a valuable asset to Greensville County, as he's already proven to be an expensive employee. So I want to go back and think about this. The board has seen that they need some outside guidance to develop a mission statement, behavior, strategies, goals, those types of things. But when you have one board member, and I'll say you have one board member in Mr. King, who orchestrates a new position, he goes as far as writing or orchestrating, taking part in the prescribed duties of this new position, and he sits on the hiring board for this new position. And the board member himself never informed anyone that an applicant was related to him. This board member, Mr. King, then allows a relative to be selected, to be provided a higher income than was advertised for the job, allows that candidate to be given a better benefits package than anyone else has been given, and still at that point doesn't think it's right to tell anyone on the board that this individual was a relative of his. Then when it's brought to the attention of this board, and I don't remember the exact words, but I think a comment was made after closed session that because of social media it had become a hot topic. But so the board changes their current policy so that it can continue to go, not ever questioning the why. And I'm sure that Mr. Woods is very qualified. It's not personal at all, but it wasn't done properly. So I ask this question of the board and everyone else. Does a decision like that made by Mr. King and supported by this board, does it seem like words that fit with accountable, ethical, fair, inclusive, integrity, respectful, responsive, and transparent? Because that's what you're going to vote on tonight is your new goals and mission. So you won't answer that question for me, but sleep on it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Clint Slate.
Clint Slate, 103 Beech Tree Lane, Emporia. When I come in the door, just like protocol here recently, I've been signing the sheet to speak. Usually when I come in here, I typically don't come in here with an agenda. I usually like to listen to y'all talk. Then create an agenda. Watch governing work. Well, tonight, I really don't have nothing to say. Because I haven't heard anything. You know, I looked through the agenda there. I didn't even get a copy when I come in. But I looked through the agenda. A lot of things take place behind those closed doors that I've beat that horse dead before. I won't beat it tonight. But I will say, and just reading and touching on what Mr. Ray said there about the transparency and what we're going to do, or this board's going to do going forward, I think that will be a good thing, because one of the problems I've had from the very beginning was communicate. I've told all four of y'all, as a matter of fact, Mr. Bryant and the ones before him, I've told them the same thing. Let me hear you talk. Let me hear you speak. Let me hear your ideas. Don't do it behind them closed doors where I can't hear it. I want to know, it's for y'all up there. I want to know the strong one. I want to know the weak one. And I'm pretty good at determining that on my own, like most folks are. And it's not about that. It's really just, let's all engage like I've read through here. You know, you want some outside help? There are a lot of people on the outside that want the help. But if you're not talking, or we don't set up the time where we can all kind of compare notes and sit down and be equals, that's not going to happen. When you're calling my time on 3 minutes, we're not equal. you dictating to me. I don't like that, but I gotta live with it because that's the board. So I hope going forward, like Mike said, we'll do something about the 3 minute, and let's have a meeting. And remember, y'all are here. I know it's not a great pay. Are we on 1 minute yet? I'm just eyeballing you.
Yep.
But you get a pay, you get compensated for it. Let's take a little extra time. If we need a 4-hour meeting, let's let everybody that leaves their house that's willing to come out here and talk, let's let them talk. Let's sit down and have a discussion.
1 minute, Clint.
Yes, sir. Don't sit up there and just look. And I know the county attorney advises y'all to do that, but I've had, Mr. Brown, I talked to you after the last meeting, enjoyed talking to you. Talked to you before. You're good people. But sitting in the capacity supervisors and the way y'all interact with the citizens, and I'm not a citizen, I'm just a taxpayer today. We'll be a citizen soon, but I'm a taxpayer today. But just to watch the interaction, it's kind of disappointing. So if we can move forward for that, I know I'm speaking for myself, I'd be very happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have old business. Mr. Kenny Parker is here to present an update to the board on the proposed site schedule changes and other measures regarding overflow of Box 3. Mr. Parker again is here to present to request the board's direction.
Good evening. Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Thank you.
I'm here today to try to finalize a couple of issues within the county and solid waste. The first one is the board asked me to see can we add some sites on Sundays, and I did it in the most cost-effective way that I could think of, which would need no money at all to do it. As you can see, it will, I took the slowest sites on each end of the county and just turned them into a Sunday so we could have a site. Asked for one, but I threw another one in to try to make it a little better for one on one end of the county and one on the other one. As you will see, it's the one that's up a little low ground. So instead of being open on Wednesdays and Saturdays, it'll be open on Wednesdays and Sundays. And the one up Jarrett on Allen Road, instead of being Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. And then I even added an extra one on Friday because there was a lot of complaints about there's not enough open on Friday. So I took the one up Barley, which you had two open on the same day. So I just took the slowest one and opened that on Friday. So you have 3 open on Friday and 2 open on Sunday. And it won't cost a thing. And staff seeks direction on how you want to go along with it.
Well, we'll see how this work, how the Sundays work anyway. And depends on how much it feel, and we'll take it from there.
And if so, when would you want to start?
Well, when is this gonna start? Well, okay,
I want it-
immediately.
Okay, so like next month, because I already did
well,
June schedule,
you
so
can
I
do
can
that.
do it for July.
July is good.
Okay, July 1, okay.
But you think opening it on Sunday versus on Saturday is gonna benefit? I mean, we get, and you mentioned the one on Allen Road, that's the one down by my house, and we get a lot of trash day on Saturday.
But that's the slowest full-service site that we have.
But that's the one that number 3 was filling up on Saturdays.
that's one of many that pulls up on Saturdays.
I
So the
I
only,
think the sites need to be open. I think all the sites need to be open on Saturdays. That's just my opinion of it.
It's the funds right now. It's the funds, right? The
sir,
funds. I mean,
No.
I had mentioned to you earlier, if we need to hire 2 or 3 more people, I wanted to see how Sundays
but
work.
that will be a problem as far as trying to service the sites, as far as dumping the trash. You can't have a site open on Friday, on Friday, and then, well, Friday after 3:30, no one can dump trash because the landfill is closed. So Thursday and Friday is our servicing days for the weekend.
Those Thursdays and Friday, they fill up, do they?
No, Thursday and Fridays are the days that we do the bulk of the dumping to prepare them for Saturday.
Okay.
All of the sites, all the sites have the same capacity, the same dumpsters. I know we have.
All the full service do,
We have, what, 3 satellite sites? The one at Purdy?
3.
One down Low Grounds, one at Barley?
That's right.
Don't have all of the big dumpsters, right, the
No,
containers?
they just have 3.
But we have the space and we have the attendance there.
Yes.
Would it benefit having extra dumpsters at those sites?
If you do that, you might as well turn it into a full service site because it'll,
If that's what it's gonna take to prevent trash being dumped on the roads and everywhere.
well, that's what my second proposal is. I was asked to get several quotes for 5 dumpsters that like I was telling you about at the last meeting, and I have several quotes for that. So, to me personally, if you can open all 11 sites 7 days a week, people would still throw trash. I've been doing this a long time. You're not going to stop. Some people just don't follow the rules. And the only thing that I think will help it is if the Sundays, to me, is not a good idea. I would just be honest with you, because I've had several employees and citizens already talking down on it. So today, we had a schedule mishap on Allen Road, and the site attendant misread the schedule, which it happens. But I got 3 emails, about 4 phone calls, just for a couple of hours. Now, you imagine how a Saturday is going to be when it's not open at all. It's
Yeah,
going to be,
I would rather see them all open on Saturdays rather than to do a Sunday.
right now, on
wasn't
Saturday,
really trying to close a Saturday, really. We weren't trying to close a Saturday. I know you switched some things around.
but that's the only
know.
way I can incorporate these Sundays.
When I first came to you, I wanted to add. I didn't want to, well, it's good you're trying different things, but I wanted to add, not
Well,
shift what
adding,
we already got.
adding is still, it's kind of hard to understand when you're not in it. And the
Yeah.
way you got just 2 guys servicing the whole county, and the days that we can actually dump the trash, Friday is the day that we prepare for Saturday. And the only way that we can still maintain the sites dumping the trash wise is if you take a day and add the Sunday. But the only way you can actually do the Sundays is if you do the Sundays for satellite sites, the small sites. Now, you could possibly try that. You have
That's what
3
you
of
got-
those.
That's what you got here already, right?
No, sir.
What Sundays are?
Sunday, you have 1 satellite site, which is in Skipples on one side of the county. Site 10 is in Jarrett on the other side of the county. That's a full service site.
Okay.
That's why I was trying to do both on both ends of the county.
Right.
Let me say this, if you can understand it.
Okay.
I've checked for employment, and if we go out to try to employ somebody, we don't have funds for the money that we have sitting right here right now. We can talk about employing people, but we don't have the money to employ them.
That's why I went the
spent-
route.
I spent last week, me and Alice went over everything last week, so I went up there just to make sure. So we talk about hiring folks, but you can't hire them without money.
That's why I went the route that won't require money. And this is the only way that won't require any money.
I don't wanna see the one on Allen Road closed on Saturday to be
Yeah.
open Sunday.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, being it's a full-service site, you need your full-service sites open on that Saturday. So, if you move one to
I could move the one up per the store that's open on,
But that's only a satellite, that doesn't have
that's
all the
only a
containers.
satellite.
That's what I said, I think if anything, we need to add containers at those sites
Yeah.
and utilize them.
And still keep them the same days? Or change that to
Try it at the same days, just add to those sites to have more capacity.
so instead of 5 new dumpsters, I had to go back and requote to get 8. Because I had proposed 5 30 yards for the 5 full service sites to put an additional number 3 bin out there.
So are we utilizing all of the containers that we currently have everywhere?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me ask this question. And I know we're separating plastics and cardboard. It's all going to landfill in the same place. Why are we asking the citizens to do that if we're not going to?
The cardboard goes to Butler paper. We recycle that. The plastic is.
I've seen it all dumped in the same hole in the landfill.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere around here. We tried this
So
company
we've
up
got those-
301.
So we've got those dumpsters we could use. We got those containers.
Okay, well, we can start putting plastic in it and just put,
If it's going to landfill anyway, why separate it?
understandable.
We wouldn't have to buy any containers that way.
That's right.
Just food for thought.
That's easy to do. We can keep that as a overage for Saturdays. When the number 3 fill up, they can finish it off in the 20 yard.
Could we try that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. So I can start on that like next week probably. I can start the process anyway.
Yeah, let's see how that works, and then we'll
Okay.
reevaluate.
Okay.
after a few
And if you
weeks.
see on the back, you'll see the quotes for the dumpsters. The one that, the company that we use is, I think I showed y'all that one the last time, was $32,000 for 5. The cheapest one is $26,500, and that's out of Florida. That's including shipping and everything. I think that's the cheapest one, and I have several more that's along the back, but all of those are close to the first one.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Yes, sir.
Other matters? In other matters, we have approval of fiscal year 2022 budget resolution, Resolution 21-150, approval of fiscal year 21-22 budget, which is attachment L in your agenda packet.
I move we approve resolution 21-150 as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we'll approve resolution 21-150. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Resolution 21-151, approval of Greensville County School Budget for fiscal year 21-22, which is attachment M in your agenda packet.
I move we approve resolution 21-151 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we'll approve resolution 21-151. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Resolution 21-152, fiscal year 21-22 appropriations resolution as attachment N in your agenda packet.
I move we approve resolution 21-152 as presented.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve resolution 21-152. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Resolution 21-153, fiscal year 21-22 appropriations resolution, attachment O in your agenda packet.
I move we approve resolution 21-153 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-153. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Approval of the fiscal year 2022 tax ordinance attachment P in your agenda packet.
I move we approve the tax ordinance as presented.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve the tax ordinance. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is a proclamation. The Crater District Area Agency on Aging is requesting that Greensville County proclaim June 15, 2021 as Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which is attachment Q in your agenda packet. Whereas the Greensville County Board of Supervisors recognizes that in 2006, the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse proclaimed June 15th of each year as World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And whereas according to the Department of Justice, Elder Abuse Initiative, elder abuse is an intentional or negligent act by any person that causes harm or a serious risk of harm to an older adult. Subtypes of elder abuse include physical abuse, financial fraud, scams, exploitation, caregiver neglect and abandonment, psychological abuse, and sexual abuse. And whereas DOGA also reports that elder abuse is a serious crime against some of our nation's most vulnerable citizens, affecting at least 10% of older Americans every year. And whereas some risk factors for elder abuse can include low social supports, poor physical health, and expensive previous traumatic events, according to the National Center on Elder Abuse. And whereas close to half of the elderly individuals who suffer from dementia will experience abuse during their lifetime, according to the Department of Justice, research suggests that elderly individuals who experience cognitive impairment, physical disabilities, and isolation are more likely to become the victims of abuse than those without disabilities. And whereas the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services also reports that the majority of incidents of adult abuse, neglect, or exploitation occurs in the adult's own home or apartment. And National Adult Protective Service Association reports that approximately 90% of the perpetuators in elder financial exploitation cases are family members or other trusted individuals. And whereas elder abuse, neglect, or exploitation have no boundaries and cross all racial, social class, gender, and geographic lines, according to the Elder Justice Coalition. And whereas only a small fraction of elder abuse cases is reported to the authorities, public awareness of elder abuse has the potential to increase identification and reporting of this crime by the public, professionals, and victims. And whereas the population projection by age and sex for Virginia's localities 2020 to 2040 produced by a demographics research group of the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service reports that the total number of Virginians over the age of 60 numbers 1,889,268 seniors. And whereas the Virginia Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services reported data for state fiscal year 2020 of the 37,398 reports of adult abuse, neglect, of exploitation received through the Adult Protective Services Program, 73% were age 60 years and older. Now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors of Greensville County hereby proclaims June 15, 2021 to be Elder Abuse Awareness Day and recognizes professionals, agencies, and advocates for their efforts to advance awareness of elder abuse. And the Greensville County Board of Supervisors urges every resident in our community to take time during the important day to support older adults and the people who serve them as essential and valuable members of the community, and to identify and report suspected elder abuse within our community. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda, Resolution 21-154, procurement of insurance for the Greensville County Fire Department. Ms. Alice Whitby.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In your agenda packet, Resolution 21-154, procurement of insurance for Greensville County Fire Department. Whereas on April 13, 2021, staff issued a request for proposal for insurance for the Greensville County Fire Department. Whereas on May 13, 2021, proposals were due to the county. Whereas on May 21, 2021, after reviewing the proposals and interviewing each of the companies which submitted a proposal, the insurance committee concluded that the proposal from Chesterfield Insurers in the amount of $20,440 should be accepted. Whereas to enable the Greensville County Fire Department and its members to have benefit of this new insurance coverage effective June 1st, 2021, the acting county administrator accepted the proposal of Chesterfield Insurers on May 26, 2021, and whereas the board wishes to retroactively approve the proposal acceptance made by the acting county administrator on May 26, 2021. It is accordingly hereby resolved by the Greensville County Board of Supervisors that the acceptance by the acting county administrator of the proposal submitted by Chesterfield Insurers in the amount of $20,440 for insurance for the Greensville County Fire Department which acceptance was effected by the acting county administrator on May 26, 2021, is hereby approved and authorized retroactively on May 26, 2021, the result of which will be that the Greensville County Fire Department secured this new insurance coverage effective June 1st, 2021. It is further resolved that the sum of $20,440 is hereby appropriated and payment of that amount to Chesterfield Insurers is hereby authorized. Staff is seeking your approval.
I move we approve Resolution 21-154 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-154. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Whitby. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 21-155, Greensville County Board of Supervisors 2021 Goal Incentives Final Report regarding the mission statement, vision statement, and core value statement. Ms. Astrop?
This board, beginning in September of 2020 and leading on to March 2021, reached out to do some goal setting for ourselves. And at the beginning of our term, each one of us saw a need to further our education, so we all signed up to take part in the Certified Board of Supervisors classes, and we've all been taking those classes for well over a year now. In going through the classes, we realized there are a lot of things lacking that we did not have here in place, and we wanted to strengthen ourselves as well as strengthen our environment in stating what we wanted to see going forward, and to actually sit down, set some goals, set a vision, and set a set of values that we felt that we wanted to go by as a committee. Because if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a plan, you really don't have anything to act on. So with our vision in mind, we sat down and said that we wanted Greensville County, and we felt that Greensville County is a great place to live in because our shared values, our strong sense of community, and our commitment to building a sustainable future for generations to come. Then we also went as far as to go on a mission, and this is something that we wanted to do as a board as well. It is the mission of the Greensville County to support the well-being of its citizens and businesses through the design and delivery of high-quality public services and programs in a fiscally prudent and cost-effective manner. And then we also, with doing anything, you always want to have values in place. And values is something that you learn from birth, actually. But we wanted to have values that we felt like we could govern ourselves by. And our values are accountable. We wanted to be accountable. We wanted to act ethically. We wanted to operate fair, inclusive. We wanted to have integrity, respect, be responsive, and transparent. So that is the report that came from our goal-setting meetings. So at this time, we need to adopt the resolution 21-155.
I move we approve Resolution 21-155 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-155. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 21-156, which is attachment T in your agenda packet. If you'll see that resolution, the school board has requested to move the funds from public transportation to debt service.
I move we approve Resolution 21-156 as requested.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-156. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 21-157, which is the refinance of the 2011A BPFP. And with that, the Virginia Resources Authority has reached out to us in the possibility of some savings, cost savings for refinancing a loan. To start the process, the board has to approve a resolution in support of that, and that's what the resolution is for tonight. Roughly, we will anticipate it saving at least a minimum of 10%, which will be $100,000, possibly more, depending on the process as it proceeds. So staff asks your direction or asks your approval for Resolution 21-157.
I move we approve Resolution 21-157 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution 21-157. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 21-158, lease of property by the Airport Commission, which is attachment V in your agenda packet. Mr. Slayton?
There was thought that this lease, which is already in place, might need to be amended. There is no longer that need, so there's no action needed by the board on this matter.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, the Golden Leaf Commons reopening. Ms. Debbie Drummond is here to present and discuss this item with the board. Ms. Drummond?
Good evening, members of the board and administrative staff. On the board meeting held on April the 19th of 2021, there was discussion on the reopening of the Golden Leaf Commons. The board made a decision to have the Golden Leaf Commons remain closed and decided to revisit it again at the end of July of 2021. The Golden Leaf calendar is clear through July for private events. I have recently had renters reach out to me inquiring of the reopening of the Golden Leaf Commons for August events. The events for August entail 2 family reunions, a class reunion, and a wedding. The reason why I'm coming before you tonight is that the renters have stressed that they needed appropriate time to make the proper preparations for their events with their vendors, as well as contact the attendees if the Commons will be reopening for August. With the Governor's Executive Order number 79 and Order of Public Health Emergency 10, ending of the common sense public health restrictions due to the COVID-19, which became effective as of May 28th of 2021, canceled Executive Order number 72. Staff requests direction on information to pass on to upcoming renters on their events beginning in August. If the board decides to reopen the Golden Leaf for August events, staff also requests direction on whether the board chooses to place any restrictions or whether the Golden Leaf Commons reopens at normal status.
Would you have any restriction?
Pardon me?
Would you have any restriction as far as reopening?
I would have to look and see everything that else is out there, because I did pull the executive order, and some of it is a little confusing. So if you would give me some time to kind of go back over there, I can present that to you maybe at the next board meeting or before, if that's okay. Because I read on it, and some of it is just really confusing. So I wanted to make sure that it's proper. You know, I don't want to do anything that is not what the governor has placed.
You said some of the people requesting in August needed to make plans.
Plans, exactly.
I mean, so we're
We
planning
need to
to open it in August? We just need to know if we need to put restrictions on.
I think we should go on and reopen that. If the governor has opened everything back up again, I think we should go on and reopen. I think we do need to have a plan of action as far as how you want to proceed in reopening. I think that's something that we definitely need to look at.
Well, before we reopen it, we should have that plan, right?
No, I think we're going to open regardless in August. But I think we
with
also
no
need
restriction?
to agree, we also need to, before August, get some details on how you're going to reopen. Because right now, they just need to know if they have a building to use.
Can you bring that information back to us in the next meeting?
I can, sure can.
Is that what restrictions may need to be in place?
Yes, sir. And I can put it together, and I'll go ahead and email it to you so you'll have it prior. I can work on that this week.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Did you all want to go ahead and make the decision to reopen August 1st, and she can notify the renters that there may be some restrictions involved, and they'll have to make a decision at a later date if there are restrictions that they want to keep that date until she can get you all the information?
Yes.
I move that we reopen August 1 and then let the runners know that there may be some restrictions.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and second that we reopen August 1st. All in favor, roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell,
Aye.
Mr. Kane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Drummond. The next item on the agenda is board and commission appointments. The first one on the agenda is Crater District Area on Aging and an at-large appointment for a term of 4 years. Currently, the present appointee is Mr. Cornell Hines. The term expires 6/30/21. Mr. Hines has agreed to serve another term.
I move we keep Mr. Hines on this board.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we keep Mr. Hines on the board. All in favor, roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next item is the Crater Regional Workforce Development Board, which is a 3-year term. Currently, Mrs. Natalie Slate, Greensville County staff, serves on the board. The term expires on June 2020. Ms. Slate has agreed to serve another term.
I move we allow Ms. Slate to serve another term.
Second.
Been moved and second that Ms. Slate serve another time. All in favor with a roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next one is the District 19 Community Services Board, which is an at-large appointment for a term of 3 years. Currently, Colonel Mark Shiflett with Southside Regional Jail is the appointee. The term expires on June 30th, 21. Colonel Shiflett has agreed to serve another term.
I move that we keep Colonel Shiflett on another term as agreed.
Second.
Been moved and second that we keep Colonel Shiflett serve another term. All in favor with a roll call vote.
Ms. Astrop,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane, Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
The next item is the Mahern Regional Library Board. It's an at-large appointment for a term of 4 years. The present appointee is Ms. Brenda Parson. The term expires June 30th, 21. Mrs. Parson does not want to serve another term. The board will need to nominate someone for an at-large appointment.
We'll defer that.
Yes.
We'll bring names next meeting.
Next meeting. Well,
I think that,
let's
we got to wait for county.
wait for whoever.
You all
makes
want to
the
defer it
motion.
to the June 21st board meeting?
Yes, because her term expires on the 30th, so you got to do it before the 30th.
The next item is the Mid-Atlantic Advanced Manufacturing Crater Regional Industrial Facility Authority. It's an at-large appointment for a term of 2 years. The present appointee is Mr. Michael Ferguson. The term expires on 6/30/21. Mr. Ferguson has agreed to serve another term.
I'd like to ask for this commission to be for Deborah Davis. Deborah Davis. Huh? No. Did you hear what they said? It was for the Mid-Atlantic Advanced Manufacturing. I said,
Okay,
I'd
let's
I'd
hold
like
it.
to
Let's hold
nominate
it
Deborah
down.
Davis.
Is any more?
I'd like to continue to keep Mr. Ferguson on this board. I make that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Conwell to leave Mr. Ferguson on the board, and we also have a move by Mr. Kane to appoint Deborah Davis. We'll need to take care of each one of those separately.
Okay, we'll do Mr. Ferguson first. I second Mr. Ferguson. All in favor with a roll call vote?
This is for Mike Ferguson.
In reference,
Mike Ferguson.
in reference to Michael Ferguson, Ms.
Stand
Astrop,
on.
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Kane,
No.
Mr. Conwell.
Aye.
In reference to Deborah Davis, Ms. Astrop,
No.
Mr. Brown,
No.
Mr. Kane,
Aye.
Mr. Conwell.
No.
The next item on the agenda is the Southside Community Criminal Justice Board, at-large appointments for a term of 2 years. The present appointees include Mrs. Alice Whitby. The term expires 6/30/21. Mr. Rick Prim, 6/30/21. Ms. Linda Richardson, 6/30/21. Ms. Whitby, Ms. Richardson, and Mr. Prim have all agreed to serve another term.
I move that we keep the same 3 members on the board.
Second.
been moved in second. We keep the same three on the board. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is miscellaneous matters. Item A is staff work programs. Item B is staff meeting minutes. Does the board have any questions in regards to
Yeah,
those?
I'm gonna make a statement before we close out tonight. I've heard people talk at citizen comment. I want to make this very clear. When the HR position was, we put it out there. When the HR position was put out there was no salary. It says 23. We asked for step 23. So what y'all saw in the paper was very, very much incorrect. It was no salary involved. It was a step 23. When we hired the HR person, he got hired at a step 23 grade, okay? The next thing is so y'all can understand this, I had nothing to do with HR. I didn't bring up the idea. I didn't have anybody to present it to anybody. So I want to clear that up tonight, since everybody's up in the air about that. So it would never, the paper had $50,000 to $70,000, and there was never a salary involved. It said step 23, and the person was hired at a step 23 grade. And when it came down, for all this argument you got going on, I was not the person that brought up the idea of HR. I was not that person. I was not the person that went to find out anything about anything else about HR. So I just want to clear that up tonight, since y'all said we don't talk back. So I want to make sure tonight you understand that. No, sir.
No comment, no comment, no.
I move for adjournment.
You, anybody gonna second? Anybody gonna second?
Adjourn. Adjourn.
I
It's
move to
been moved,
adjourn.
it's been moved and second that we adjourn. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion, we go into regular section for water and sewer.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Certification of closed meeting, resolution WS 2149.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
No public hearing. Item was appointment, none. Old business, none. New business, none. Miscellaneous matters, adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Astrop?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.